Okay. Good morning to everyone. Glad to see everybody here, and also for you that are joining us online. We're happy to have you. And today we're going to be continuing our series, Working with Buyers for Success. This is WBS 102, Working Smarter, Not Harder. Quick recap from last week. Remember what we talked about? Your real job is to do what? Find sellers, not buyers, right? We work with buyers by accident. In other words, they fall on our lap. There are plenty of them out there, and they will happen. This will happen, and they will fall on your lap. Secondly, what do we know, and what do we find out? Well, very simple. That we only work with A buyers. We always want to put buyers into three camps: an A, a B, and a C. An A buyer is someone that needs to buy now. The lease on their house is ending in 2 months. They need to buy now. They just moved here from Salt Lake City. They have 17 kids, and they're living in a residence inn. They need to buy a house now. Oh, I left out with their dog, cat, and parrot. They need to move now. That's an A buyer. When an A buyer comes to you, you take them, you do whatever it takes, and you get a sale, because it should be an easy sale. A B buyer is someone that they're committed to buying, but they're not that committed to buying. Maybe now, maybe not. What I always teach with Bs is really, especially when you get going, you should refer them all out. But I do that personally on a case-by-case basis. What's the case-by-case basis? How close I am to them, if I know them, if I like them. If not, I refer it out. I take the 25% and I focus on my real job, which is what? Getting more listings. Number 3, C buyers. C buyers, you should always refer out. Yeah, we want to buy, but we want to buy a house if you can get me $20,000 more for the house I'm selling than what it is. If you can get me a really good discount on the perfect house. They're not that committed. If it happens in a month, great. If it happens in 6 months or a year, that's fine too. A C buyer will suck the life out of you. They'll have you out every Saturday, every Tuesday, every whatever. Refer them out. Let somebody else traipse around with them for 3 months, and you can just sit back, not waste all your gas putting miles on your car, and still make 25% of the deal while you're doing your real job, which is what? Trying to find buyers. All right, so let's talk about today. Daryl Davis, one of my mentors. It's funny because I've read his books and whatever, but within the last 6 months, I've gotten involved in his online training program. I recommend it to everybody, although here I'll tell you this. I pay for it, so I put it on in here when he's on. But one of the things he said is the more you try to sell a house, the more you unsell it. The best way to sell a house is to open up the door. Before I got into real estate, and right thereafter, I used to enjoy, wow, it's been a long time, HGTV. Okay. That network, right? There was a show on that network called Love It or List It. Anybody remember that? I don't know if it's still on or if it's whatever. Again, I can't stand that network anymore. I guess once you're in this industry for quite a time, you realize how they're just out of it. The guy on that show used to drive me crazy even before I knew better, because he would walk in, take people in the house and say, here is your living room. Here is your kitchen. Here is your dining room. You fellas saying, here's your kitchen. Yeah, no fooling, dude. Did you think I was going to put my bedroom in set in here? Like, you don't need to do that. You're not a tour guide. Let the house sell itself. Shut up. Open the door, shut up, and be there if they have questions. I was in a debate in a training some years ago that I was leading with a couple other people, and the question was, when you're taking somebody on a tour, should you walk in front of them, next to them, or behind them? And the truth was this: you want to be invisible as much as possible. I walk into a room and I say, oh, look at the mantle on that fireplace. And that's so beautiful. And I bring it to the person's attention that maybe wouldn't say it, and they go, God, I think that I didn't even notice it. I think it's hideous. And I just unsold the house. You may think something's awesome, and the person next to you, so just let the house sell itself. We'll talk about safety as far as before, next to, or behind And another one, but let me just suffice to say this before we move on. If you are in a house with someone, never walk into a room where there is not a way out in front of you. In other words, if you're in a bedroom, it's the last room in the house, the client goes first. That's for your safety. And we're going to do a lot of realtor safety stuff. I'm going to try and do a little seminar in the fall on that. Some keys to working with buyers. Buyers can and will drain your income. So many people got into this business, right? Oh, I can't wait. I'm just going to sit in the office, and when a buyer comes in, I'm going to take the buyer out. We're going to drive around together, and we're going to look at houses. It's going to be so fun. And that's what people think realtors do. Oh, we just drive around. Oh, look at the design of this. Isn't this beautiful, the way they decorated? It's not what happens. My advice to you is never work with a buyer unless, again, they're an A buyer. That guy from, where did I say, Kansas City, Salt Lake City, wherever, that's living in the residence inn with his kids and his dog and his cat. Understand this point. Top producers have 75% of their income come from sellers and 25% from buyers. In most cases, the money they make from buyers, they consider their play money. That's their money to go buy a boat with or stuff like that. Why? Because they don't count it as their real income. Because their real job, you work with sellers. I said this last week. We work with sellers. We play with buyers. Buyers are a hobby. So get to the point where the money that comes from buyers are for your hobby. So that being the case, at least 75% of your energy should be focused on your full-time job, which is building your inventory. What does that mean? You've been through prospecting for success. You know what that means. That means getting listings and having a certain number of listings that you always have. If you say my number is 5 and I'm going to have 5 listings all the time, right? When one goes under contract, what do you have to do? Go crazy and whatever to get another one. So your inventory never goes below 5. Again, that number can change based on what's going on in the market and things like that. Number 2, have the right attitude. So many people take a buyer out and they're desperate. Oh, I need a sale. It's going to be my first sale. Oh, I need a sale. Oh. Stop it. Have the attitude that you don't have to make the sale. The right attitude is I don't need to make a sale because I have plenty of listings. Let somebody else have the pressure of taking buyers around in front of the house because I have listings. Let the buyer be free to make the decision without any pressure. Number 3, there's 2 reasons to work with buyers. They're quick and easy money. If they're an A buyer, not a B or a C, you should be able to show them 5 houses. I have 3 to 7 on here, but basically 5 houses and make a sale. What did we talk about last week? Knowing the shiny pennies. Another quick review from last week. You should, in every price range, be able to identify the top 5 houses available. You should not show house 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If I showed you the best 5 houses for $500,000 in Oldsmar, and then I didn't like any of them, what does it tell you? I'm not an A buyer, right? Or my head's totally out of what's out there. So now I come to you and say, oh, I saw this house on Zillow. Can we go see it? Do you understand that that house is inferior to the other 5 that we saw? If you didn't like those 5, we really need to wait until another top 5 house comes on the market. If you teach them this in your first conversation, which we're going to talk about, of how you do this and of how you identify these houses, a little bit like we talked about last week, it's going to save you from taking them to the house that's got a hole in the roof, that's got a pool that's green, that's got mold issues, that's got, you name it. And it's going to stop you from wasting time. Number 2, the other reason you work with buyers is you're working your full-time job every day, week in and day out of calling sellers. Guess what? You go, you get 2 listings, 3 listings. You might say, I need a little break. It's monotonous making these calls. That's why we do a prospecting power hour here. Why? So we can sing kumbaya to each other and hold each other's hands and and reinforce each other, support each other, because we all have to do it. And it's part of what we do. But we all know it's not our favorite part of the day. The good news is we can get our calls done usually in 1 hour to 2 hours a day. So we're not asking for a big part of your day, but we need to do it. So once in a while, you might say, I need a little brain break. I just got this listing, whatever. Take a buyer around, regroup, but get back on your listing campaign. Working with buyers again. I already went through this last week, but here it is again. And I did it in the recap. There are 3 types of buyers. An A buyer, that's the guy that has to buy now. His lease is expiring. His house just burnt down. His wife and kids are living, waiting for him to buy a house so they can move to the area, or they're all living in that residence inn. They need to buy now. B buyers want to buy, but they don't have to. They're pretty committed, but so again, if you're on a listing break and you got a B buyer and you kind of like them, go ahead with a B buyer. A buyers you always want to take, by the way, but B buyers, yeah. C buyer, they would like to buy if everything goes right, but they have little to no commitment. Always refer them out. Scary for a new agent. Finally got a buyer, and now you're telling me to refer them out? Yeah, because they're going to run you right out of this business, because you're going to spend the next 6 to 7 weeks running them around, not making the calls you need to make and building your inventory. And all of a sudden, you're going to be 6 months in this business with no sale. And they're going to say, nah, you know what? We're going to wait until the new year to get started. Refer them out. Number 5, know the inventory. It is so important you know the inventory. It's hard in the Tampa Bay market because we're expected to know such a huge area. Now, if you're an island person, like a beach person, this is different. In other words, if you say, oh, you know what, I work Clearwater Beach, Dunedin, and Bel Air Beach, you can learn all those listings at every price range. But if you're a Tampa Bay realtor, do you know the prices of what's going on and what the best houses are in Ruskin, Plant City, Wesley Chapel, Ybor City? I could go through all, St. Pete, I could go through all of it. It becomes harder, but do your best to know what's going on. More importantly, know every property listed with your office. I've had people disregard this, and then they say, hey, can you tell me about, hey, Jerica, can you tell me about this property that you have listed? Blah, 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 blah. It's not your listing. It's Ginger's listing. And you're like, I don't know anything about it. You will look like an idiot. So go through the office's listings. Be at least able to speak to them somewhat. You don't have to know them inside and out, but know them. Customers expect you to know your company's inventory, and not knowing it makes you look unprofessional. There you go. Number 6, don't try to sell a house over the phone. We sell the sizzle, not the steak. Instead of trying to describe a house over the phone, move the conversation towards the time the buyer can go see the home. We need to cement these people as clients. We're going to talk about this when somebody calls. Somebody's going to call you asking about a house, usually your listing. Not always. Sometimes they just found it on Zillow and your name was there, or realtor.com. We'll get to that. Number 7. I said we'd get to it. Here it is. I didn't realize it was 7. Here we go. Why does somebody call you about your listing? Well, let me go back to the scenario that we used in Prospecting for Success, right? Or no, I'm sorry, in the beginning when we talk about working open houses. Who goes to the open house, right? Not a buyer. Buyers don't go to open houses. People that are in pre-contemplation stage. That's why it's so great for realtors to work open houses, because they can get people that are new clients and work them through the entire process. If you have a realtor, you're not going to an open house. You want a private showing with that realtor, right? So that's why open houses are so good if you're looking to pick up clients, especially sellers. So the husband and wife, the ones that were laying in bed, the husband got a promotion, the wife's about to have their 3rd child, and they had the conversation, hey, honey, do you think maybe we should go to a bigger house, move to a bigger house? Maybe they went and checked out that open house just to see the neighborhood they thought they were interested in. Now they come back home and they're sitting on the couch together, and they put together a list of 10 houses, 12 houses. Let's narrow down what we might be interested in. So we're going to do this. So husband says, I'm going to go to work. Can you do me a favor, honey, while you're laying here on bed rest or whatever? She's having a baby. Can you call and find out if these houses have, let's just say, a pool, right? That's usually pretty easy to find out. But let's just say it's something that, something they couldn't couldn't necessarily know. Does it have a fenced-in yard? We're gonna have 3 kids. Okay. So the wife picks up the phone and she calls. Hi, I was calling about the house you have listed on Main Street. Does that house have a fence? Oh, no, that house does not have a fence. Okay, thanks. Click. Goodbye. That's how the phone call comes. Who controlled that conversation? The caller. What we need to do is derail that and talk to them and say, what are you looking for? You probably have a list of houses. Okay. That person, they're calling to eliminate you from the list because they have 12 and maybe they want to narrow it to 3 or 4 houses they want to see. Nope, no fence, no good for us. No fence, no good for us, and checking you off the list. So understand that's why they're calling, to eliminate you, not to work with you. Also remember that they may be loyal to another agent. Your job is to get them to make an appointment with you. So this final bullet point on here, never give the address until the appointment is made. Good luck with that because the internet's changed everything. And that's kind of an old school. You see, I wrote this particular one in 2014. There were still properties out there that you saw ads and didn't have an actual address. So yeah, right. But those days are behind us. So I'm going to move on from that. Number 9, do not pay all that much attention to what they say. What? Okay, let me ask you. Let me tell you. Sorry about this last week. If you tell me that you're pre-approved for $500,000 and you tell me everything you have to have, and there's a house that if you look at it, looks like it's worth $600,000, what house am I going to buy? Probably the one that has the most bang for the buck. Even though I told you I had to have 2 stories and this one's a ranch, it looks so much above the other ones, I'm going to buy it. So understanding your top 5 houses in a price range is equally important as understanding what it is that they want. Now, somebody like me, when I was buying, I had 2 things that I had to have. And if you showed me a house that wasn't, and I made that clear, had to have a pool, and it had to have a big enough lanai that I could set up an outside kitchen, have a living area, and I have a tiki bar there. And enough room for my parrot, who lives out there when it's warm. So there are times, you have to feel this out. So, like I said, of course, ask them what they want and when they'd like to see the house. But here's the truth. Most buyers don't know what they want. If they have, they would have already found it. You walk into this house, I don't want a 1-floor house. I want a 2-story house. And they walk in and they see this bonus room that they never thought ever would happen in a house. And all of a sudden, it becomes their favorite thing that they've ever seen. They didn't know about it 30 seconds before. Happens all the time. Number 10, there are 4 keys to listen for when working with a buyer. What are they? What do I always say? Every training. Find out what they're committed to. Why are you moving? When do you need to move? Why in this area? What else have you seen? 2 focuses with buyers. Number 1 is to create urgency. It's better to do something today than tomorrow. And number 2, this is a huge one, especially if you're dealing with first-time home buyers, people that are less experienced, people that are younger. You have to manage the buyer's emotional roller coaster. When I bought my first house, all of a sudden I sat there and realized as I was looking through mortgage documents that I was going to be signing a mortgage to pay a mortgage more years than I was ever alive. Right? I was 20-some years old. I was signing a 30-year mortgage. Does that horrify you? I'm never going to live to be 50. By the way, I'm 53. Right? But think back to your 20s. That's you can't picture 30 years. Now 30 years ago seems like yesterday. But you have to be cognizant of that. You have to remind when the buyer gets emotional. I don't know if we can do this. Oh my gosh, the home inspection showed that it has this or it has that. What do? Bring them back to what they're committed to. Again, that's why in the previous slide, knowing what they're committed to. Get their mind off the fact that there's something going on with the air conditioner and back to what it is they're committed to doing. Moving to this house before Thanksgiving or whatever it is. moving in the house that has the perfect pool for them, whatever it is. So here we're going to go a little deeper into phone inquiries. Phone inquiries have happened now in a different way than they did even when I wrote this, although it was a hybrid then. Used to be people would call the office. Does anybody in this room know our office's phone number?
Starts with 800.
Huh?
It starts with 800.
Starts with an 800. There is actually a local number here too.
No, because I always.
I have no idea. The bottom line is you have no idea, right? You have no idea. Why do you have no idea? Because we don't do that anymore. People call you directly. They find you on Zillow, they find you on your website, they find you on Realtor.com, Homes.com, whatever. So when you're doing a phone inquiry, here's how it works. First part is the introduction. You introduce yourself, they introduce you. They're going to call. We're going to go back to that wife now calling, for her and her husband, looking for the house that has a fence. Hi, I was calling about your listing at 123 Main Street. You need to take control of the conversation. Oh, hi, my name's Bill Zeltman. I am the broker here at Realtor at Century 21 Integra. What's your name? Good. Right? Now I slowed you down because what are you trying to do? Ask me about the house, get the thing, and hang up on me because you're trying to eliminate it. Hang on one second. Let me see if that house is still available. Put the phone down. This is a powerful, powerful sales technique. I don't teach many sales techniques. I don't believe that we're salespeople. We are coaches and advisors. But in this one time, I break my rules. What happens in those 30 seconds? Anybody?
Speaking to somebody on the phone?
No, what happens in those 30 seconds when you ask me about 123 Main Street? I say, oh, hold on, my name's Bill Zeltman. What's your name? Jerica. What was the property? 123 Main Street. Oh, hold on a second. Let me see if that property is still available. What goes through your mind? I want it.
Yeah.
We don't have anybody that's dated in the last 40 years can tell you that, right? Right? You want something all of a sudden. This is car dealers do this all the time. Of course, we don't lie. They sometimes do. I actually had this happen where the guy, went down the street to look at another car, came back 30 seconds, like within 30 minutes. And the guy said, dude, car salesman people say this all the time. That car is actually sold. And I'm like, come on, don't start this. And all of a sudden I look over and the people who were buying it ended up getting a dealer trade for one that was almost identical and whatever. But the point is, it does happen. But you want to do just that and get them slow them down and get them on the edge of their seat. Is it still available? Now you come back and say, yeah, that property is still available. Now you want to qualify them. Are you working with a realtor? No. Oh, wow, that's good. I would love to help you. Just understand that I can help you. You probably have a list of houses. Instead of making 10 phone calls, I can find out about every house that's on your list. So if you have the list, oh, I didn't know that. Most people don't. They think they have to call a listing agent to get the facts. Okay. Have you been pre-qualified yet? No, my husband and I, my wife and I, whatever, this husband in this case is in our scenario, are just getting started. Great. I can help you with that too. And so you're qualifying them, and this is the fair exchange. What is a fair exchange? They ask a question, you answer it. You ask a question, they answer it. Back and forth, back and forth. To answer your question, yes, 123 Main Street does have a fenced-in yard. What other things are you looking for? Oh, well, we want to have a place where we can put a play set because we're going to have 3 kids. We don't want a pool because we don't want our kids to drown because we're paranoid freaks. Whatever the conversation is. Then you get to part 5, schedule the appointment. So we do this in 4 steps. Okay, so I'm going to see you at that property and the one other property that we mentioned, because you're hopefully have gone through a couple of them, and there's 2 or 3 that fit the things. I will see you at 3:30 for a 4 o'clock showing because we're going to meet ahead of time for the buyer-broker agreement. And what that's going to do now, as I've had to change this training because things have changed, but we've always wanted to do this, you're going to have a pre-meeting with them at some place local, a Dunkin' Donuts, a Panera Bread, wherever, a diner, or wherever, local. Step 2, again, Bill Zeltman, just so you know, I do have a broker's license. I have a doctorate. I have a MBA in digital marketing. Blah 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 blah. So validate yourself. Century 21 is the most renowned name and largest largest real estate group in the world, and the most renowned name in real estate in the United States. I've got a great process that I'm going to do with you to find you the perfect house. I call it my 6-step buying process. It's going to take me 15, 20 minutes to go through it with you when we do our pre-meeting. It's also going to allow me to do the new consumer information statement that you need to sign. So I'm looking forward to meeting you, Right Action, at 3:30 at Dunkin' Donuts on Main Street. Okay, sounds good. There's a script that I'm going to give you today that will have all that information. Now you're going to meet with them face to face. Okay, again, in the old days, people looked at this and said, oh, you can never do this. And it's because they allowed the tail to wag the dog. What do? They met you over the hood of a car because they found you on Zillow. They went in, saw the house. Yep, this isn't what we're looking for. We'll give you a call when we find another one. You may hear from again, you may not. Who is in control? The buyer. We never allowed that in my offices because I taught this. But now, everybody, oh, this whole buyer thing, it's got me all rattled. It's the greatest thing in the world when it comes to working with buyers, because now the buyer legally has to sign something. It's great. Gives me the excuse to sit with them for a half hour or so before the showing. So now you're sitting with them. Again, you want to manage their emotions. You can have a buyer presentation book. I don't use one. I just go through my 6-step buying process. What is my 6-step buying process? I explain the entire thing before beginning it. Getting to meet with them, finding out what their needs are, identifying the top places. We're going to go through each of them, so we'll go through it here. But the meeting takes an hour. If you tell them it takes an hour, they're going to nowadays go somewhere else. It's going to take me 15 minutes just to run through this. Again, the new lawsuit, we have to do this. If it doesn't take 15 minutes and ends up taking 45 minutes, who cares? You've got them engaged. And basically what you're going to show, you want to do is take the buyer out once, show them a handful of sales and make a sale. That's show homes and make a sale. That's the whole idea of the process. So the 6-step buying process, pre-work. Introduce yourself, again, over coffee, tea. You do it in the office. You can do it in the Panera Bread, wherever. Explain that before you take them out, you want to sit down and talk with them a few minutes and explain that you know that there is a process that helps people like them find a house at the best price in the least amount of time, which is what they want. As a matter of fact, if any agent has to physically show you more than 5 to 7 houses, they are not doing their job. Tell them that. Be emphatic about that. Oh, that other agent, we saw 20 houses. They must be lazy. Yeah, they didn't know how to narrow down the right houses for you. So step 1 is to inform them. This is the 6-step buying process. Use your book. Don't use your book. I think books are totally outdated nowadays. But to tell them about yourself. That's why I created the buyer, the buyer thing that I send them ahead of time, and I have a copy of it there. Has my biography, very similar to what you made for sellers, except has the buyer tips, accomplishments, awards. Section 2 has your company information. Section 3, neighborhood information. You can do that for each individual neighborhood that you're showing them by going into RPR and just printing it out. It takes 30 seconds. Step 2, ask questions. You need to find out whether this is an A or B or C buyer. If they're a C buyer, you got to get rid of them. The more questions you ask, the more you will take control of the relationship. Questions help eliminate objections that may have come later. Good questions stimulate their motivation to buy. When are you looking to move? Why there? Those types of things. Find out if they're ready to buy, and if they find the right house, are they ready to go? If they're not, why bother showing them a house? No, we just want to get an idea. Well, you can do that on a virtual tour. Here's my YouTube page. We don't need to go out and see the houses, get the hopes up of the sellers. That's gonna be a waste of your time and my time. When you're actually ready to buy is the right time to go out. Select houses. What you want to do, okay, is create urgency. How do you do that? When you meet with them, copy every house that's between $450,000 and $500,000 in Oldsmar, because they're pre-approved for $500,000, right? You have a stack. You're going to sit with them while you're Panera Bread or whatever, and you're going to look. Oh, this one doesn't have a fence. Crumple it up, throw it. You can't throw it unless you're not in an office. If you're in an office, again, but you wouldn't be dramatic about it. Oh, this one, no fence. Rip it up, whatever. Throw it in a whatever. The whole idea is when you come out with 20, 25 houses, what's the mindset? Oh, cool. There's a lot for us to choose from. When we get down and there's only 3 to 4 houses, which one of these are we picking? There's not many. Holy cow. And it creates urgency automatically. So meet in the office, show the houses, talk them out of seeing the homes that are not shiny pennies. As they're eliminated, cross them out, throw them across the room, throw the printout away. I would take a picture just to be case. I think it is, but create urgency by eliminating as many houses as possible so the buyer feels that out of all the homes listed, only a few really work for them. That's the key. This changes the mindset with touring these houses from let's see if we like them to wait, which is the best of the few available. And it creates more commitment. Before you go to that meeting, now again, this is kind of changed because we're going to do this a half hour ahead of time, but schedule showings with all the shiny pennies no matter what, okay? You're going to have the house that they want to go see, but also have the shiny pennies. That way, you can find out what houses always sell first in a market. The best ones, the ones that are most valued. So the chances are that shiny penny may go under contract. So if you were to go and say, today's Monday, can we go out Wednesday or Thursday? Guess what? That house very well may go under contract in these 3 days because it's the best one out there. So we want to just always check, because let me promise you something. You a lot of times still go see these. If I take a buyer out to see 5 houses and the one house is under contract now, and I still take them to see it, guess which house they're going to like? Why? Murphy's Law, I'm jinxed. No, it has nothing to do with it. It was the best one. People buy the best bang for their buck. So we got to take it off of the table. Oh, sorry, that one's sold.
So you never take them to see contracts then, under contract?
Never. Well, can't we just go see it? I had it when I was buying a house long before I was in real estate. Can we at least go see it just in case it falls through? No, that's a complete waste of your time. That's all you're asking for. You're asking to disappoint me. Okay. This is a controversial one. Just remember that it's important to select houses together so they're part of the process. But here's the thing. How many of you send out emails with listings? Put them on a drip campaign out of your website, I hope, and not the MLS? Never the MLS? But you send it out of your website. How many of us do that? Yep. What does my next thing say? Do not send an email with listings. Now, I'm going to contradict myself. That's a very strong position. Know when to and when not to and how to present it. Why? We want the buyer to be part of the process, but you need to be part of the process. Narrowing the list stimulates their desire to buy. It creates urgency and it creates commitment. When you send new listings every day, what do people say? Oh, I missed that one. That's okay. I'll just wait because there's more coming on the market all the time. It works against you. So if you explain the shiny pennies correctly, listen, and use the word shiny pennies or use whatever word you like. These are the best 5. These only come around once in a while. Yeah, there's a bunch of houses coming on the market, but to find one of these that are a top 5 really, that are especially a top 1 or 2, these only come every once in a while. Then, yeah, okay, send them houses because they're going to, as long as they understand, okay, this is what it came out, but yeah, it's not as nice as that one that's there. Also remember that you can be more flexible with true A buyers because they have to buy now. So keep showing A buyers anything and everything until they buy, but always start with the shiny pennies to make your job as easy as possible. If you take a shiny penny to take a shiny penny. If you take an A buyer to 5 shiny penny houses and they don't buy them, guess what? You made a mistake. They're not an A buyer,
Yeah.
and you need to react accordingly. Step 4, inspect. As I said before, don't be the guy from Love It and List It. Here is your dining room. Oh, really? I was gonna put my TV set in here. Come on. Inspect the property, but don't oversell it. Let the buyer decide if they like it. Go have fun with the buyers. Don't push them. Again, remember, whether a buyer buys or sells, buys a house or not, it doesn't really matter except for the time wasting that you're doing, because that's not where you're making your money. You make your money off of listings.
Right.
So don't be too attached to making the sale. Tell them to check out the house, and if they like it or have any questions, let you know. Paperwork. This has changed. Used to be return to the office and get the offer in immediately. These days, you can actually bring your laptop with you. Can I tell you a crazy story? I was looking for a house for myself, and we're down in Riverview. I did everything that I teach myself. Before I walked in to see the house, I made sure it was still available, because houses back then, this is 2020, houses then were going in minutes. I came out, I got into the car, I opened my laptop, started to write an offer. I called the agent to tell him, don't sell it. It's gone. In the 10 minutes that I toured the house, that's how crazy things were then. Let me explain something else, and I have it on here. One of my mentors from back when I was 22, 23 taught me this, 22. If you say, I'm going to go back to the office and I'll email you the contract, 100 things could happen, and 99 of them are not in your favor. The only thing that would be in your favor in that case is if when they went home, their house that they were living in burnt down. Okay? I don't mean to be crazy or sound crazy, but seriously, everything else, something comes up. Oh, now I'm worried about my job. Oh, now I'm worried about my kid. Oh, now I'm worried about my mom. Oh, now I'm worried about 100 things come up, 99 aren't in your favor. They say, we want to buy this house. That's why I told you in the beginning. Actually, we did this in the training today and in the first week. Always have chargers for your phone, for your laptop, for whatever. Make sure you can stream. Your phone has a hotspot. Make sure you know how to use it. You can sit right there in the kitchen of the island and write your contract. Our program, Zip Forms, I've never seen anything easier. I've used SkySlope before. I've used Dotloop. But Zip Form, I've used all of them. The one we have now is better than all of them. It's so easy to use. We have Dotloop. Very easy. Write the contract then and there. We don't have the pre-approval letter. That's okay. Let's get everything else done here. Who is your mortgage person, which you should already know, because you should have a copy of it, right? You should already have it before you ever take them out. But if God forbid they don't, get them and call Cheryl or call whatever and have it there and get that contract done immediately. And then if they don't want to buy, this is as important with listings as it is with buyers, an ongoing communication plan. Has anybody ever had a buyer that you took out 2, 3, 4 times, and then they kind of saw all those shiny penny houses or whatever it was, and so you didn't call them for a couple of days, then you went, hey, I haven't heard from you. Call them 3 days later. Oh, I'm sorry, but we're actually using blah, blah, blah from Keller Williams or wherever else. Why do they do that? Because my agent didn't care because I'm only buying a $300,000 house. It wasn't true, but that's what they put in their head because they hadn't heard from you in 3 days. Because you didn't set expectations. Expectations are like this. Here's a plan. We're going to see all the top houses right now. Every Friday at 2 o'clock, can we have a standing call to review everything that came out this week? I'm going to send you the houses. If a shiny penny house comes out, I'm going to call you immediately before then. But if not, let's get together every Friday, see if any of your wants and needs change, anything, this, that, whatever. Now they realize Jerica does not care about me because I'm buying a cheap house or I only want a condo. There's nothing new that's come on the market. Right. And I know Jerica's told me that she checks every a couple times a day to see everything that gets listed. So I'll be the first to know when a good house comes out. Obsessive compulsive people are going to be on Zillow every 30 minutes as Zillow updates. They are. And guess what? With the internet, there's a lot of them out there now. Okay? So having this ongoing communication plan is so important because now they know what to expect from you. If you guys have not had the story I just told happen, it is a knife in the gut. Been working with this guy for 3 weeks, and next thing I know, he just goes and calls another agent. I hope it never happens to you. I promise you, if you're in this business long enough, I'm sorry, but it will. But if you follow step 6, you are going to lower your chances of it exponentially. Questions on today?
That was really good.
Everybody that's on YouTube, we're going to end the stream now. Feel free to get in touch with me if you have any questions or would like any of the breakout sessions. Have a great day, everybody.